and we're talking about Dropbox versus Evernote, and also how you can use Dropbox and Evernote in your business in order to have access to your information all the time. Dropbox is kind of a USB drive in the cloud in that it's a good spot where you can store all the things that you would store on a USB drive. For instance, a PDF that you might want to review on a computer that's different than the one that you usually work on. Evernote, on the other hand, is kind of like a notebook. They market themselves as the perfect memory that you can have anywhere. If you go to the Dropbox website, and in here you have all of the different files and folders that you have created inside of your Dropbox. Organize this the way you would a file folder or something that you're going to be hunting for information in based on a naming scheme. So why is this so handy? Well, basically, if I go to my computer, I have a Dropbox folder over here in the left-hand area into my favorites area, and I can access those files right here as though they're right on my computer. I'm just going to use this benefits or obvious file, and I drop it into this DE meetings folder. A little blue mark will go here as it gets synchronized, and then after it's synchronized, it turns green to let me know that it's been uploaded. Now if I go to that web browser window, I can go into that DE meetings folder, and I'll find that benefits or obvious document, which I can click on and download on any computer rather than just the machine that I was at recently. Dropbox is really nice for me to be able to work on my things and to transfer information around from my home computer to my work computer, or from my computer to my iPad, or from my Mac to my PC. But when it comes to being able to share with other folks out there, how does that work? Well, so I'm logging back in, and basically what I want to do is maybe I want to share something off. So maybe I want to take this LT training folder and I want to share this to somebody. I can actually come down here. I just right-clicked on it, creates a drop-down, and I can do invite to folder, and I can send people an email message that I want to have access to this folder. And then once I send it, this person will now have access to that folder through Dropbox. Of course, the little picture changes now, and it shows a little person on there because Deb is now able to see that folder. You went in and opened one of these files and then saved it. You would just open and save it just like you are, because that's really what you're doing. Then you'll see that turns to a little blue while it synchronizes, and then it turns to green to indicate that it's actually uploaded to the server. Now I've uploaded that file, and really interesting is if we kind of maybe we're not really happy with the changes that have happened so far, I can right-click on this, and I have a new Dropbox menu that I can pull down to, and then click View Previous Versions. And what this does is it actually opens it up, and it shows the different versions of the file that are here, and I can go and actually restore an older one if I wanted to. So this is really handy if you kind of screw something up. Like Dropbox installed, you'll see it right here. It'll tell you how much space you have, and if you right-click on it, you can go up and you can see I have 76 gigs available. It gives me the ability to see the recently changed files, all that sort of stuff. So anyways, just wanted to point that out to you, and that the icon is this little box. If Dropbox is a USB drive in the sky or in the cloud, then Evernote, on the other hand, is a notebook in the cloud. Evernote isn't really a folder on your computer as much as it is kind of an application. Okay, it has 3 different areas. Over on the left-hand side, it has kind of your navigation with notebooks and tasks. And then in the middle, it has a list of the different notes that are in a particular search or in a particular notebook. And then over on the right, it shows the note itself. And a note can look like this, which is just text. It can look like this, which is more than text. It's actually a photograph, and all of the notes are searchable. So I just clicked on the All Notes notebook. I have 108 of them in there right now. And I can type something in like SQL, and then it's going to find in all of my notes ones that have the letters SQL. SQL is a type of database language, so that's why I knew I'd definitely find it in my notebook. The other thing that it did is it found it on pictures. So for instance, this is a whiteboard drawing that I took a photo of using my iPhone after we were done with it, and you can see that I have an SQL here in this actual page, and it went and found it. So it's pretty good about scanning actual photographs that you took and making them searchable. I'm just going to create a new note here. We're going to call it the test note. As you can see, it does have a spell checker in it. And then, so I have the information I don't want people to see, and then I have other information that I don't really care about. What you do is you just right-click the information you don't want to have other folks having access to. And then, you highlight it, you right-click, and you pull down to encrypt selected data. It's going to pop up, and it's going to say note encryption. Give us a passphrase. And then you can say OK, and now this is what encrypted text looks like when you save it. You know, you're reading Men's Health and you want to quickly get the ab exercise of the year. This is a great way to do that. The other thing that I want to point out is that you can actually share off notebooks. So for instance, let's just say that I have a notebook over here called Webinar, and these are the things that I wanted to make sure I included in today's webinar. I can right-click on this, and I can actually share this notebook off to some other folks. So I can either share it off to the world, which would make it public, and I could create a link to it, and then maybe send that link out to all you folks so you can go look at it. Or I could share with individuals and make it so that folks could have access to this network, or I'm sorry, to this notebook based on who they are. So maybe I want to share it off with Deb or Brian as we're putting together our meeting today. So let's kind of give you an example. So for instance, we're working on a new on-site process for our consultants right now. And I have it tagged right now as DineEdge or D-Edge. So this makes it so it falls into this tag. So if I click on this tag, it's one of the 40 notes in here. I can then click and add another tag, for example, process. So I've now created a new tag called process, which shows up over here, and it has one item in it, which is this notebook, or this actual page. Now this page does show up on the notebook itself, but it also is now available. If I just click process, I can find it quickly. So this is a good way to tag information. So if, for instance, if in my case, I have a whole bunch of different documents that we're working on from a process standpoint, I can go and find those. So for instance, maybe changes in operations, I can now tag this as a process too. And now it's two of the items showing up in this process, yet all of the other items are still showing up in the DineEdge folder. Another thing you can do is you can actually stack notebooks. So I have these 3 notebooks that are currently stacked together in this notebook stack. To do that, you just click on it and you pull one over the other, and it'll create the stack for you. Okay. The only limitation here is you can only go 1 deep. You can rename stacks. So maybe I want to call this work. So here I found my lasagna recipe. Maybe this is the one that I want to make. Well, if I have Evernote on my iPhone, I can make this recipe show up right on my phone for a shopping list just by highlighting these items. So highlighting the items that I want for my ingredients, going down here, right-clicking, and doing copy selection. This actually creates for me a new note. I just clicked on it that says ingredients and has all the items on it. So this is a really quick way to take a list that you've just researched on the internet and turn it into a shopping list. So that's number one. The other thing I might want to do is I might actually want this recipe so that I can come back and kind of actually make it. So I'm just going to highlight the stuff in here, and I'm going to get the directions, stuff I'm going to need. I'm going to right-click, and I can do copy selection here again, and that will create a new note that has all those things in it. I'm just clicking on it so that we can see kind of what that looks like. Okay? So this is a really quick way to go and find a recipe. The name here isn't so helpful, right? So I might want cooking. That's great, but what about this? Maybe I'm interested in getting this, and I don't want to type all this out. So I can just right-click here. Right-clicking today. I can right-click here, and I can do quick screenshot. It'll actually bring me up a little thing that allows me to highlight what I want a shot of. I clicked, and then I'm clicking again, and now it just created a clipping of that screen and made it a new note for that. So maybe I want to add this to my shopping list too. Now, when I go back to my Evernote, I have this jambalaya mix on my shopping list. I have the other things that I created. I'm just going to go and I'm going to view by created date so I can kind of see all the stuff that I just made at the bottom here. And I've got this ingredients in my other shopping item. I'm going to take these two things, control click so I have both of them. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to merge the notes. So I'm just going to join them together as one. So I have my shopping and my ingredients list all in one piece here. So basically, I'm kind of taking those different notes and I'm putting them all together into one. All right, thank you everyone for participating today.